Balloon Beats.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hensey, joined today for the Yankees pregame by the man, #ShutUpBrandon, Brandon Kramer. How we doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Listen, I cannot complain. Despite the fact that the Yankees are coming off kind of a frustrating loss yesterday, I would say they're still riding a pretty high wave of momentum going into this national series. But before we do get into anything, shout out to everybody currently in the chat for our 6 o'clock pregame. We got Daniel, Lori, Amy, Alex, Stevie Bats, KG Baseball, Vincent, Yoelvis, Borg. Who else? We got Larry's Treasures, Gary, Gabby, not Gary. I'm thinking Gary Sanchez. Jake, who else we got? We got Joseph, Ruben. Sorry if I missed anybody. Hope everyone is enjoying their day. But before we do bring up anything, I see PX's comment, Kluber Day. I actually thought it was Kluber Day until Tyone was announced a starter. But I'm just saying, I was kind of thinking the same thing originally. But let me pull up the lineup for today. We got DJ at third base, Stanton in the 2-hole, and Judge 3, Torres 4, Hicks 5, Sanchez 6, starting catcher, Frazier 7, Andujar. Miguel Andujar is back in the Bronx, making his 2021 debut today in the 8-hole, and then Tyler Wade at 9 with Jameson Tyone on the mound. Brandon, how are we feeling about this lineup?
Honestly, I'm going to say something a little bit. The fans might get on me, but where's that way for Higgy? I think Higgy has not been hitting well. So, hey, if Gary can catch fire, it'll be good. But yeah, we just need some. 6 to 9 has really been bad for the Yankees these past couple of games. We've had little to no production from those spots. So if we can get something going from those guys, honestly, I'm gonna just say my bold take right off the bat. I think Miguel Andujar is going to have 2 extra base hits today.
Okay.
So Tyler Wade's going to ground out 4 times, though, if anyone wants to know.
But I wouldn't even consider that a hot take because that's just a given.
If he gets the ball out of the infield, I'll be impressed.
Same.
But, I mean, Patrick Corbin has had an issue with fly balls this year. So if they can – I don't know if that was just him being on the COVID list. So we'll see what's going to go on. But I just hope that this lineup – especially with against a lefty, can really just like another power outbreak.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna say this: with Gio being out, it definitely makes the lineup look a lot weaker. Only because then you have to move Hicks up to the 5-hole, right? And I know Hicks has been, Hicks has been improving at the plate day by day. And I think the Hicks that we're seeing at the plate the past few games is a totally different Hicks that we saw a couple weeks ago. So he's definitely making tremendous progress at the plate. And kind of what you mentioned about Gary. Is interesting because Higgy, since kind of being named the starting catcher, he's definitely fallen off, right? He not the same production. He's still decent though. However, I think this could be Gary's opportunity to kind of step up. But at the same time, it's like I don't know how Gary is ever going to get the chance to get hot when Higgy has now kind of become the personal catcher for not only Cole, but I think he has to become the personal catcher for Kluber as well.
I mean, the thing with Higgy that everyone knows, you throw him a fastball, he'll crush you. Throw him a breaking ball, he's not going to touch it. I mean, that's kind of Higgy's motto. Moto or mojo, whatever it is.
Motto.
Motto. Mo-
Motto.
Either way.
Name's Motto. Mo. It's his Mo.
Is his MO. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
So it's just good. I mean, what we're used with the Yankees is like 1 through 9, just long at bats, which we have seen. That is something that they have improved. Gleyber Torres' power is still not there, but honestly, I don't care. I kind of like this hitter.
Same.
I mean, if Gleyber can turn into a 300 average, 25 home run hitter, I'll take that over a 270, 280 with 35 plus, because he's not. Yes, he can hit for power, but that's not what he came up to do.
Agreed. And we mentioned this so often in the beginning of the season when Gleyber was kind of struggling, and we felt like he was like shooting for a home run or nothing every time at the plate. We're like, we want to see Gleyber kind of take that approach that he had when he was in the minors, right? And not be a home run hitter, but just like put the ball in play. We would much rather see Gleyber Torres have like a 300 average with 15 home runs this season than like him batting like 220 with 30 bombs, right? Because it's just such a copycat kind of approach in the Yankees lineup right now, where they don't need another right-handed power hitter. However, they could definitely use another right-handed contact hitter. So I think that's why this approach that we've seen from Gleyber as of late is a much more promising one.
I see Alex actually commented it, but I was just about to say it before he commented it. 2018 Gleyber was the perfect model of what we needed. That he was our 9 hitter, and he was. You knew every time he stepped up to the plate, like he had that walk off against Cleveland. I was at that game, but then you also had and Andujar had that hit against Houston. But like that's just when Gleyber Torres was using the entire field, and really not shooting for home runs. Like yes, he went on that streak where he homered off of Bartolo Colon, and they loved saying, "Oh, he was like." Not even born when Colon made his debut, but stuff like that. Yeah. But like, he's not, as I will say this, I think I say this every stream now. Gleyber Torres is not a 35 home run hitter. That 38 home run season was the worst thing that could have happened to him. He is just
I agree.
20 to 25. Yes, he has 30 power, but also how much was that with the juiced ball? Because we've seen I saw a stat this year that says last year there were only 38 games where a pitcher went 7+ innings and only gave up 2 hits. That's already happened this year. The pitchers have some advantage this year. We also can see like the slugging and everything is down except with the big power hitters. But like, who knows? Maybe these guys can revert back to their old forms.
Yeah, definitely. But kind of branching off of that, I know we mentioned Andujar, right? He is coming up. Well, he's already up today to make his debut with the Yankees. Listen, I don't really remember seeing Andujar too much last season, if I'm not mistaken.
We
might have played a handful of games in the Bronx.
He played a handful of games, and then in that Blue Jays series in wherever it was, Buffalo.
Yeah.
He was raking a bit, but like
I remember that. Yes.
He's still not back. Like the surgery he had, especially with his weird, he just didn't have time to get back. We got Gio Urshela, and Gio Urshela is never giving up that spot again. And at the end of the day, does Miguel Andujar have a great bat? But his glove is that bad that I think when Gio first had his 2019, you're like, okay, let's say in 2020, let's say Miguel Andújar's bat was still like a little bit better than Gio's. You would take a little bit of a weaker bat for that plus defense because
easily.
Andujar was that bad.
But yeah, and that's kind of like why looking at the lineup today, I'm so thankful that they didn't put him at third base, only because like we know how suspect his defense is over there. And while like Gleyber Torres has improved tremendously at shortstop since the beginning of the season, that you don't want the left side of your infield to just be that sketch as far as that goes. That's why putting him at first base is probably the best option right now. I know like he might not be able to scoop balls that well. However, I'd be much more comfortable with him there than with him at first base, right?
Bro, the heart attack it always gave me, like when the ball was hit to the left side, you're like, please make a good throw.
I know.
Like kind of like when you're having a catch like with your dad or whoever you played catch with growing up, you're like, hey, throw it at my chest. With Andujar, you're like, come on, don't double pump. You honestly assumed that after his labral surgery that it would change his mechanics because of this weird sidearm and double pump, and you're like, oh, the double pump is fixed. No, like that double pump that he has is like the difference between getting a decently fast runner and not getting him.
Yeah, or even like the whole like left field experiment that I think was ludicrous.
I don't want to ever see that again.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit confused about that whole thing because, listen, I liked Miguel Andujar a lot in 2018. And kind of looking back, the Yankees definitely should have traded him and kind of capitalized on that. No one could have ever expected the 2019 downfall of him. But I mean, looking back on it now, it's just the whole Miguel Andujar experiment in general. I know what's her face on Twitter likes to bring up the Aaron Judge experiment. No, the Miguel Andujar career as a Yankee has been a whole experiment. Trying him out in left field, which made no sense. Now he's at first base, started off at third. So listen, I know the circumstances of him coming up aren't that good. And I think the only reason he did come up is because he was raking in AAA in such a small sample size. Personally, you guys know, I would have gone with Derek Dietrich. There's just a few issues there. One, he's not on the 40-man. Two, I know he's like 2 for 12 in AAA, but like, who cares? I'm not expecting him to put up ridiculous numbers down there because honestly, like, he doesn't want to be down there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like putting a guy in an environment where like he's not necessarily like playing to prove anything, because regardless of how Dietrich plays down there, he's not coming up anytime soon. I've kind of like come to that realization that we're probably never going to see Derek Dietrich in the Bronx, because there's been so many instances so far where if the Yankees were going to bring him up, they would have already. So I think right now, like, Andujar is the way to go. And hopefully he could just perform in Gio's absence. That's hopefully not too long.
Yeah, the 40-man issue is where it's going to come down to. But I mean, with Andujar, if we didn't have, like, if Stanton could play the outfield almost every game, Andujar is your perfect DH, a guy that literally cannot field a ball to save his life. Honestly, there were at times where I thought or anyone from the Unhinged team could have made a better play at third than what Andujar was making.
You probably could, Brandon. I have faith in you a little bit.
It's just he was that bad. He was that, like, the bat was great, which kind of hid the weaknesses, but he was really bad, bro. We had to play a Danny Echeverria in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, I love Echeverria. He was great.
No, yeah, Echeverria was a solid like late game defensive replacement. But speaking of late game defensive replacements, right? There was kind of a situation yesterday that I do want to talk about. That's kind of been a recurring thing throughout the season, and that is the fact that Clint Frazier is the Yankees starting left fielder. Correct? I know he struggled so far this season. However, look, there's no reason you should be taking him out of the game just about every night for Brett Gardner as defensive replacement. I would understand if you have like Miguel Andujar out there, for example, right? But I think we tend to forget very often. Clint Frazier was a Gold Glove finalist last season. To take him out for Brett Gardner as defensive replacement, who in every aspect of the game is kind of like less than or equal to Clint, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's kind of mind-blowing how no reporters have kind of asked Boone, like, why is this happening, right?
Well, I think what it comes down to is usually right after Frazier gets his last step out of the game, if they're ahead,
but it wasn't.
Yeah, no, but most of what I would think is you would do that because, yeah, Frazier have the better arm. Yes, he's had some issues with overthrowing the cutoff man, but I think with like comfort in terms of fielding and knowing that left field, Gardner is the veteran there. But like then again, if Clint Frazier is your starting left fielder, you want him to get those reps because he's not going to be comfortable in left field unless he's given those reps. And it's not like he's a significant like downgrade like he used to be.
Bro, it's not like you're putting in like give me like a ridiculous defense. It's not like you're putting like prime Kevin Kiermaier out there. You know what I mean?
I hate that man with a burning passion.
Okay, but you can't deny, bro. Like when the dude was like in his prime, a ridiculous.
That's the example I'm trying to make. He's still a ridiculous fielder, but yeah, that's like it's not like the difference of putting Danny Echeverria at third.
Let me bring up Jamie McNeil's comment. Jamie, I'm sorry, but like there's not one stat that proves this, like at all. That Gardner is a far better defensive fielder than Clint. There's just no proof behind that at all. Sorry. Yeah, and if you have any statistics that prove that, bring it my way, because I'm pretty sure if you look at like defensive WAR or anything, Gardner might be like 0 and Clint might be like negative 0.2. Like, bro, it's not that far of a drastic comparison.
I don't even know if people calculate DRS, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I'm really not too familiar with that.
But all I know is just Gardner has a noodle arm, so at the end of the day, if there's a fly ball to left field, who do you trust getting the ball to home plate and actually making a good play on it? Brett Gardner or Clint Frazier? Easy answer, Clint Frazier. Because I'm gonna say hot take right now. Clint Frazier has a stronger arm than Aaron Hicks.
No,
Hicks is scared to use his arm.
Obviously not the strongest arm in the outfield because you got Judge out there. Yeah. But still, I mean, it's definitely the second strongest arm in the outfield. But listen, shout out to Ruben Cruz with the $5 dono. Appreciate you, Ruben. You are the man. I want Andujar to succeed. I love how he is a 50 doubles, 30 home run machine, but I don't trust the Yankees finding a way to use him properly. And I think this was always the issue with Andujar, especially with the emergence of Gio Urshela. There's kind of no space for him. And Andujar kind of made that bed for himself, simply because when you're that bad defensively, it makes it difficult for a team to find a good spot for you. And especially once we saw him and the offense kind of didn't even make up for the lack of defense, he really just found himself with no position in the Bronx. And if he does come up in this little stint and absolutely rake, I don't think that this has any value for himself on the team moving forward. I think it would just improve his trade value, right? Because I don't see Andujar coming up here. And even if he hits even if he goes 10 for 20, for example, right? I don't see the Yankees being able to find a way for him to continue being on the team at all.
I don't know how DRS is calculated, but just to put into perspective, Miguel Andujar in 2018 at third base had a negative 21. So because of his defense, my guess is like 21 runs scored because of his bad defense.
Yeah, I don't know how that's calculated, but that's
But it makes sense. Like plays he could have made. Like a lot of the times there's awful range and awful throwing, but now you see Gio slow. Like every time there's a slow roller, I'm fairly confident with Gio making those plays.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Like with Andujar, you're like,
No, yeah. But listen, Brandon, I do want to bring up Aaron Judge really quick because listen, I know like a lot of people are kind of getting worried about Judge after kind of 2 games of struggling. I think I just want to remind everybody, this is the same Judge like last week. We saw like go on like an MVP type tear in the span of a few games. I think he's like just gonna come back to earth eventually, and him coming back to earth is like regular Aaron Judge, right? Like right now, these past 2 games or so, he's just been astronomically bad, and we're not going to see him keep that up. Like I'm fairly confident that even tonight we might see him like break out of that shell.
Well, where it comes from is the guy hitting in front of him is on fire, so a lot of the times he's jumping up and doing the bicep touch after Stanton hits a home run. So the guy I've seen a lot is the opposing pitchers are throwing Judge away and low. They're not giving him anything high. He just needs to lay off of them or walk. But then again, there are some pitches that he has missed. There have been some fastballs that he should have taken the other way. But then again, it just comes from he's going to have those bad games. But I think he's going to be fine. But I think here's what I think: if Gleyber Torres gets better, and I would say when Luke, like I would assume, I would love to see this 1 through 4 when Luke Voit comes back. DJ, Stanton, Judge, Voit. When Voigt's back, that's a lot more protection. Or I still like Gio 4, but
I love Gio 4.
Gio or Luke behind Judge is perfect because it gives Judge more protection. Because then let's say, oh, you want to pitch around Judge? Okay, you have Urshela up. He's not going to swing at something out of the zone. Then if you walk Urshela, now you have first and second on for Luke Voit.
But that's exactly it. We talked about this so many times. I go DJ, Stanton, Judge, Gio, Voit. I think it's perfect. You kind of plug Gio in between Judge and Voit so you don't have like those 2 copycat hitters back to back to back kind of. Yeah. But listen, shout out to Ruben with another $5 dono. Ruben, you are a legend. Legend. Appreciate you, my man. Yankees have been messing up their development by being too crowded in multiple positions and not trading them away at the right time. Brandon, you look confused, but I agree with this 1,000%.
I would agree with the second half. I would not agree with the first half.
What, that they're not messing up the players'
no,
development?
by crowding up multiple positions. You want to have a lot of depth, though.
Okay, but because of that depth, guys don't get the opportunity that they deserve.
Yeah,
look at Mike Tauchman, for example. We're talking about a guy, no pun intended. But listen, 2019, he absolutely carried the Yankees for the most part when they had like that whole next man up mentality going on. And 2020, heading into that season, the Yankees just had so much depth in the outfield that Mike Tauchman never truly got his fair share. Well, and even coming into this season, we looked at Mike Tauchman as like the Yankees' guaranteed 4th outfielder, right? What did they do, Brandon? They went out, they acquired Jay Bruce, who at the time, like obviously he wasn't a viable option out there. But also, they re-signed Brett Gardner. So that essentially left Mike Tauchman battling in spring training to be the 5th outfielder. Bro, this is why sometimes depth is a little bit too much to the point where guys can't get consistent ABs.
I love Mike Tauchman, but he showed in 2020 he could not hit a mid-90s fastball.
He was hurt. He was hurt,
but we kind of still saw this a little bit this year. But then you can't put up an argument that Gardner was better. Tauchman was practically free at like team control.
In no aspect of life is Brett Gardner more valuable to this team than Mike Talkman?
But then,
bro, look at any aspect of the game. Tell me one aspect of the game, from defense to arm to hitting to base running, where Brett Gardner is better than Mike Talkman.
don't say anything. But like,
Exactly.
but then you also hear people saying, "Oh, Florial should be up by now." Then you go to think like, you guys got to look at Florial's stats. That man has not hit above single A in his career and cannot hit a curveball to save his life. Like, that's not their fault. That's his fault of not staying healthy. Like, what I've noticed with Yankee fans is they'll look at like player comparisons. They're like, "Oh, he's a 5 tool player. He's going to be the next Mike Trout." Like, you got to let guys develop, because there's cases of whoever, Mark Appel, the guy that the Astros drafted, he was projected to be one of the next best great baseball players. He was awful.
No, but Brandon, like, you're kind of proving my point. These guys aren't able to develop because there's just, bro, look at Clint Frazier, bro.
Yeah, Frazier.
With
Frazier.
the Indians, he was a guy who was kind of like guaranteed to be up in the majors by the age of like 22, 23, right? And looking, I mean, he said this in an interview. He reevaluated his career at like the age of 25, 26, and like, damn, like, I was called up in 2017, and since then I've only played like 160 games, and in the span of 3 years, this is not what I expected things to go like. And because of that, Clint Frazier right now, Brandon, while 2021 is kind of like his first season being a starter in Major League Baseball, you could make the argument that 2018 could have been that year. This should have happened 3 years ago, and because of the Yankees' severe, I want to say, overabundance of outfield depth, and kind of not being able to get anybody a fair opportunity because of guys like Brett Gardner, it kind of messes with the progression of Clint Frazier, Mike Talkman, even Estevan Florial. You could even make the argument that kind of the minor league whole system gets clogged as a result of it.
Yeah, I would say with Florial, it's a whole thing because he just needs to hit. I do think he could have been a good defensive replacement. Dude's got speed, got a great glove, but he 3 straight years, like, he always would perform well in spring training, but he'd get hurt. But I think where it comes down to is the pitching. They have seen, up until I would say recently, they've had a little bit of difficulty really developing pitchers. Now, everyone assumed once Deivi Garcia came up last year, he still needs to go through what you would call the growing pains. So people saying,
7 walks last night.
Yeah, that's going to happen, though. Like, you're going to have a pitcher one day that doesn't have stuff, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Yankees should have traded him." But no, if there's anyone the Yankees should trade, like Clark Schmidt or Deivi Garcia, one of them is going to be a staple in our rotation. We're not going to know who yet, but like it's.
I think we know, based on like the way the organization as a whole views both of these guys, or how we assume they view both of these guys. I think their clear option here is Clark Schmidt. I think they love Schmidt, and just kind of based on the opportunities or lack thereof that they've given to Deivi. I really think Schmidt's their guy when he's healthy.
And I mean, Schmidt has. I would say his stuff plays a little bit better because he has that sinking fastball.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, Deivi has great stuff, but if Deivi Garcia doesn't have his fastball command, it's mid-90s, it's low 90s, it's gonna get hit hard.
Fair.
With Clark, he can miss his spot, but the ball moves so much that there's that room for error. Because a lot of it now is movement, spin rate.
Yeah. Shout out to Alex with the $5 dono. Appreciate you, my man. Miguel Andujar should be at first base. I believe he means / third base. Bench spot, his defense will be much better there.
No, first base, that's it. First base, that's it. I do not want this man having his range is terrible. I don't want this man having to throw a baseball.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Andujar. We kind of go over this so often with him. If he's gonna hit to make up for his lack of defense, sure, like he can remain on this club. But it's so difficult having a guy on the bench who's only there to hit. Only because like, if you're going to bring him in as a pinch hitter, like he's eventually going to have to play somewhere, right? Unless like it's like a late game situation and you have like, bro, I don't even know who you'd bring him in a pinch hit for.
No one, because everyone's like, "Oh, Stanton is," you're seeing right now, when Stanton's locked in, he can be one of, if not the best hitter on the Yankees.
Brennan, he didn't mean third base. He meant second base. Okay, in that case,
honestly, that's an even worse idea. Like,
no, yeah.
The reason with third base, like at least you just have to have a little bit of range, but you have to have a quick reaction. With second base, you got a lot more ground to cover. And if a ball's on the ground at second base to turn 2, I don't want to see that man throw it into left field. Like, that scares me.
No, but like that's exactly my thing. And that's why, like, whenever people bring up like these situations, has Miguel Andujar ever played second base anywhere?
He's only ever played. Like moving someone from third to first, that's doable. Even left field, like a corner outfield spot, yeah, you just have to. But like, if this man can't field a ground ball the right way, has no range or speed, why would you put him in a spot like Gleyber Torres has good range? He gets to a ball quickly. DJ is 6'4". He has that lengthy kind of like he has a big wingspan, so he can make plays where he might not be fast, but he makes up with it with his height. The best thing is when George Springer said in the All-Star game, "I've never seen a second baseman that tall."
Yeah,
like that helps him a lot. With Andujar is like he's your stereotypical DH, and we just happen to have one of the best hitters in baseball when he's on in that DH spot.
Yep. But listen, shout out to Anthony Castellanos, said love the pod, just subscribe. Listen, if you guys aren't subscribed, go subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Also, if you haven't checked out today's vlog that went up today from, when was that? Wednesday night's game against the Astros. Definitely go check that out. Quite a good time in that video. But I see Stevie Bat's comment. I want to address this really quickly. Clint is going to get traded for talking to Spike Lee the other night in the stands when he shouldn't be worrying about what the team is doing. And Brandon, let me mention this to you. I had a conversation over text with Derek of NYY Recaps last night, and he asked me, he said, what do you think about like the whole Frazier Spike Lee thing? Because Derek is pissed about it, like absolutely livid. I don't know if it's a generational gap kind of thing here, but I think the overreaction that some fans are having with the whole Clint Frazier Spike Lee interaction that happened is absolutely ridiculous. The dude just hit a home run. Like Spike Lee asked for a ball or something. He threw over a ball, and like that was kind of it. Nothing was going on in the game. It's not like he was having a 20-minute conversation with Spike Lee while it's crucial moments in the game. Everyone relax. It's kind of the equivalent to a curtain call. Like, it's not that serious. And if this was any other player besides Clint, this wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. If that was Brett Gardner, Brandon, everyone would be celebrating him for it, saying he has such great interaction with the fan base. Like, give me a break, bro.
I thought it was cool. I mean, people could say, "Oh, he's not hitting well. He should focus more on hitting." Like, it's Spike Lee. Like, I think Frazier was more acting like a kid at that moment. He's like, "That's Spike Lee, knows my name, and wants a baseball from me." Like,
it's so stupid that people are talking about this.
These guys are humans. They have people they look up to as well. If Spike Lee is going to a game and he just watched you hit a home run, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I like that."
Bro, as Ruben says, it's dumb that it's even news. Everyone needs to relax because, like I said, if this was any other person besides Clint, no one would bat an eye to it, bro.
I mean, if this was the playoffs, that's understandable, but it's a regular season game.
So annoying.
I mean, hey, why are people not overreacting for Lance McCullers playing catch with the Yankee fan, not like, or when Aaron Judge plays catch with someone like that or does something like that, everyone praises him. But when Clint Frazier does it, it's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. But listen, Jake says, love the vlog, got to do more, guys. You know, I saw like a bunch of comments saying like more vlogs. I think we definitely have to, like, as the season goes on, especially once the stadium gets to like 100% capacity. That'd be a great time. Maybe like playoff vlogs too. The only thing I don't like about the vlogs is it takes away from like the pregame, postgame stuff. So I don't know. We'll definitely like intermingle like that in-person content with the regular content that we do as the season goes on. It was kind of more like a trial, right? And I think it kind of went well based on the comments. Let's see. Derek went too far. Sorry. Yeah, no, Derek. I told Derek. I was like, look, I don't like, definitely way too of an overreaction, but I don't know. Listen, Brennan. Like we mentioned before, Jameson Taillon is on the mound today. He has yet to go more than 5 innings so far in any of his Yankees starts.
There's just one thing that scares me in this game. Juan Soto, he scares.
Is he back?
I think he's in the lineup today. If he is, then we might as well mark off an obligatory home run, because also another thing you mentioned, Taillon's going back with his arm again.
Well, I mean, the point that I was really trying to make is like he's only gone 5 innings. Hasn't gone above that. We need to see length, regardless of the performance. If he has to give up 3 earned runs just to go 6 innings, I might take it, to be honest with you, Brandon. Like, I just want to see the dude pitch into the 6th for once, because like I said, this is his 6th start of the season, and we're almost in the middle of May. bro, you're gonna need to see length out of him all of a sudden. I mean,
I want to see
not all of a sudden.
Like 85, 90 pitches at least.
Same, but like I think because of that should kind of bring him into the 6th.
Yeah, depending on his
At the
outing.
minimum.
But I mean, if Corbin's been this bad, pounce on him early, make it a blow. Give Tyone like a 4 or 5 run cushion.
Soto is batting 4 and playing DH today.
So obligatory home run into the over the bullpen or
into the train tracks.
Or the ball's not going to land. So yeah.
Let's see.
Did you see everyone saying, "Oh, the Yankees should get Pujols"? I don't know who's watching this, but I don't want
that.
A bunch of people are saying the Yankees should get him as a power hitter. He is a 45-year-old man who cannot hit anymore.
Listen. Anybody saying the Yankees should get Pujols, I think it's just more of a novelty thing. I think like people would be like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then the first double play that he hits into, people are gonna be like, oh, DFA Pujols,
MLB record for double.
Well, yeah, I mean, I gotta sneeze. Am I gonna fight it, or am I gonna? No, I'm not gonna feed into it. I'm not. All right, we're good. But listen, Brandon, I'm kind of looking at the Nationals lineup, right? I think it's kind of underrated. Like their top 4 are Trey Turner, Josh Harrison, Juan Soto, Josh Bell. And then you got Starlin Castro. It's gonna be fun seeing Starlin in the Bronx again. Kyle Schwarber, Young Gomes. Bro, it's not that bad of a lineup. So if Tyone can find his way around it, and like we said, going into the 6th, I'll be super satisfied. Not just satisfied, super satisfied. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think we should make our bold predictions. What's your bold prediction for tonight, Pat?
I mean, I kind of say this every night. I mean, all right, I have a few. 1, Tyone is finally going to pitch into the 6th, right? 2, I think Stanton's going to go yard. Is that even like a bold prediction at this point?
No.
And 3, give me a Clint home run.
So, we should. Let's also do. So you have a Clint home run and a Stanton home run. I'll pick 2 other players for a home run draft. I'm actually going to go bold.
Okay.
Miguel Andujar and Gary Sanchez.
Okay. Interesting.
I think facing lefties might help them.
That's exactly. I mean, listen. Also, like I could see Judge having a coming out party tonight. Kind of breaking out of that slump.
Hicks right side.
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of guys to watch for tonight. Now, Brandon, this might be a hot take. I think the Yankees. There's no doubt that they score less than 7 runs tonight.
I was about to like leave because I thought you were going to say something about Tyler Wade, and I was like, okay, let's not go that extreme.
He's the only guy not to watch for in tonight's lineup.
No. So I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully, tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow when we face Scherzer that we just like light him up. So then he'd be like, you know what? Let me come join that team. Yeah,
I mean, it would lower his trade value a little bit, but listen, shout out to Alex with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, my man. Albert is a 220 hitter with bad speed and defense. Listen, he would provide nothing to the Yankees. However, I hope he does find some team to go to kind of like finish off his career.
Honestly,
bro, this would be a really bad way to go out.
Maybe 1 game in St. Louis. Maybe 1 game. He starts at first in 1 game because he's really bad right now.
Yeah. I mean, but listen, Brandon, compared to like Mike Ford, Pujols is kind of an upgrade compared to Ford.
Bro, Pujols is that bad this year.
He's not worse than Mike Ford, Brandon. Like, I know you're like spewing this narrative that Albert Pujols is now the worst hitter of all time. He's better than Mike Ford.
He's better than Tyler Wade.
I'm not saying that the Yankees should sign him, but I think you're being a little bit over dramatic.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of people like Pujols to the Yankees. They're saying like, oh, they're kind of caught on what he used to be. Like, and he hasn't been the same.
It's just a novelty. It's just a novel. If you see anybody say like Yankees should get Pujols, don't take them too seriously. It's not that serious. But do we have any final score predictions for tonight?
8-0 Yankees. Actually, 8-1. 8-1. Soto's gonna get 1.
Do you think they score most of the runs off Corbin or the bullpen?
Mixture.
I think this. Yeah, I was gonna say I think they score 4 off Corbin. I think Corbin goes like 5 innings, gives up 4, and then they score the rest off of the pen. Because the Nationals don't really have that good of a bullpen. But I think my final score prediction is 8-3. I think the Yankees win 8-3. I think Tyone gives up 3 in those 6 innings pitched. And I think after that, the bullpen kind of locks it down as usual. But yeah, listen, that is going to wrap things up for today's pregame. We will be live directly after the game for the post game. You guys know the deal: like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you do know when we go live directly after the game today. Also, if you haven't checked out the vlog that went up on the channel this morning, definitely go check that out now. It should be the most recent video there. However, we just got another $5 dono before we wrap things up. Shout out to Stevie Bats. Appreciate you, my man. These guys are professionals. Even when I was in Little League, I was able to play second base, third base, shortstop, and the outfield.
That's Little League.
That's the point. Stevie, that's the point. In like Major League Baseball, it's much more complicated to like just throw around positions anywhere. I mean, that's mainly why guys play one position and stick to that, just because it's so difficult once you get so comfortable in one spot to kind of just shift elsewhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of like proves the point. When you're in Little League, like it's kind of fairly easy to play every single position, but when you're a professional, it's difficult to be a professional at multiple positions. And also, Yelvis said the vlog was fire, Pat. Thank you, Yelvis. Appreciate everyone for stopping by today. We will see you guys directly after the game for the post game. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Let's go, Yankees. Peace.